Welcome. In this video, we're going to do an unboxing and component overview for the Kickstarter edition of Ascension Tactics, published by Stoneblade Entertainment. So down at the table, Ascension by itself is a deck builder game that came out about a decade ago. So this is Ascension Tactics, a miniatures deck building game. This is the Kickstarter edition. So it is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and each game is going to last between 45 and 90 minutes. On the back here, they just have a list of all the names that were the first day backers of the game. Fortunately, I did not back early enough to get my name on there, but it's pretty neat when companies do that. So taking a look inside, we can see we've got our rule book, which is 39 pages long with some pretty big text in there. So we've got our going over getting started, their components, our setup of the game. So everything's easy to see and read. Going over our champions, how to read that, player setup, heroes and constructs. So looks fairly simple and easy read through. Vanishing cards, ability keywords, terrain tiles, token types, making ranged attacks, so nice diagrams, additional ways to play. We've got drafting, 2 versus 2 teams, 3 or 4 player, solo, co-op, and becoming the boss. So just goes over each of those modes. And an FAQ and glossary of terms in the back. And then we have a scenario book, nice thick bound, going over the components. So each of the miniatures and everything in this game. So that is one thing in the Kickstarter. It comes with miniatures along with the tokens. Have heard though, during expansions, there will be some ways to get miniatures if you missed out on the Kickstarter, but does come with tokens in there. So we've got a table of contents in this, 59 pages long. So you've got player versus player and solo scenarios, campaign scenarios, introductions, going over the setup. And basically, it's just going to show you different ways of setting up maps and victory conditions. So a whole bunch of different acts, different ways to play the game for multiple player accounts. And then for our punch-out boards, we got some foam to get rid of here. So different tiles and beacons and one of our players. Hopefully you can see, kind of see the thickness. I mean, it feels like your typical cardboard token size. Of course, these are dual-sided. Taking a look at the back. And then the rest of our tokens. Front and back. Apparently I opened the box upside down. So you got some modifier tokens, some force terrain it looks like. Some treasure chests. And then all of our characters. So from what I understand, kind of the most famous in the deck building game, they made those playable characters. And like I said, miniatures will eventually be available. And we have our cultists down here. And of course, everything is dual-sided. Mecha Initiate. Bringer of Despair. And we're going to have our player board, which also is dual-sided. So let me get this out of the way so we can spread that out. So the board on one side is going to have a map already set up on it. And of course, for setting up your center deck, Mystic, Heavy Infantry, Cultist, and your lineup, everything is on the board there. And the other side is going to be similar, except it's going to be a blank map. So you can use the tiles to kind of fit the scenarios. And then inside, So it's a deck building game without cards. So we'll take a closer look at all these here in a bit, but definitely plenty of cards. And since I pulled them out, looks like it's going to fit some sleeved cards. Probably not the thickness though. Then we have holders or standees for our character punch outs. So a quick look at all those in different colors. And our honor tokens in red and white. So grabbing a bunch of those to look at. So large red ones and the small clear honor tokens. And we've got a bag for our tactics. The treasure bag. And then to our miniatures. So pull out my cheat sheet here. So this guy is Master Dartha. Sitting on top. Definitely textured. Let's see how good this guy stands. Pretty good for the way they sculpted that to make him work on that base. Then we have core. So I do plan on painting most of these. We'll see how that works coming up. And Samuel. And the Earth Tyrant. And Tyrannix. Pretty neat. And here we can see we've got all our cultists and some of our heroes with all the glare. And some more of our champions underneath. All right, getting a little better view. We've got tracking rings for our cultist miniatures. That explains all these different colors here in case you don't have the minis. Trackings for those. And all the cultists look to be the same sculpt. So we'll take a look at just one of these. Then we've got Spike Vixen. And our Smithy. And a Sensei. And the Unbound Emissary. And Emery. Then the Fairy Commander. And Rut. And the Backblade. Then another tray, we've got, let's see here, the Twilight Scout. Pretty nice poses on these. The Demon Slayer. And Prime. Zeron. the Shadowcaster, the Scara, then we have a Monk, and the Templar, Raven Siren, another Scara. So we got two of those. And the Flytrap Witch. And the last ones are in the bottom tray. Not quite sure how to pronounce her name. I'll let you all try it. Pasithia, maybe? The Mechana Initiate. And Steelfoot. And the Lycanthrope. And the Nihil Bomber. And Cetra. And a Water Gin. And a Tusk Rider. And the Bringer of Despair. And that's going to be it for the minis, so take a look at the cards now. All right, so we have all our cards laid out here by different types. So we'll start with our gateways, whether you're playing with team or just as a player one. We've got our blue gateway, yellow, green, and purple gateways. Then our starting cards, these should look very familiar. We have our Apprentice and Militia cards. And the backs on those. And always available for purchase. Part of our main deck, Mystics and Heavy Infantry. Then we go into our Champions. And they're going to have a different colored back on them. And we've got our Strength, Power, and Defense, and of course the champion we are and our special ability. So looking at our Templar, a Scara, our Sensei, the Water Gin, the Twilight Scout, Unbound Emissary, Flytrap Witch, the Runic Lycanthrope, Raven Siren, Rut, Tusk Rider, the Fairy Commander, the Hedron Smithy, Tyrannix, Prime, Icarus Steelfoot, Mechana Initiate, the Reactor Monk, a Demon Slayer, Shadowcaster, Bringer of Despair, Nihil Bomber, the Spike Vixen, Nika Black Blade, and then our Cultist card. Then we have some more champions here. Emery, Master Dartha, Kor, Cetra, Xeron, the Earth Tyrant, Samael, and Pasithia. Then part of our main deck cards, we've got the Void cards, Mechanas, Lifebound, and Enlightened. So just start looking through some of these. Void Initiates, Void Ragers, the Crusher, Shade of the Black Watch, Void Speakers, Gladiators, got a Hammer, some Dogs of War, Stalkers, Invokists, Shadows Stars, Ulan's Fist. Quick look at those. Then the Mechana cards. The Control Smith, the little Wrench Priest, Rocket Courier, the Colt Peddler, Blast Goggles, and Salvage Master Mila, and the Clockwork Shield. Then our Lifebound cards, a Thicket Familiar, Pollen Pixie, which is destroying my sinuses at the moment. Land Talker, Vine Weaver, the Marsh Ranger, Luro the Hunter, then our Enlightened cards, the Compass, the Diviner, a Librarian, Colt Shepherd, Escara, the Dragon's Eye, the All-Seeing Eye, Dreamwalkers, and a Whirlwind Ascetic. Then we get into our villain champions, and these are all double-sided. So it's just easier for me to go through one way and then flip across. But just Tusk Rider, just have different stats on the different sides. So the Siren, the Demon Slayer, the Core, the Initiate, the Water Djinn, Master Dartha, Bringer of Despair, Commander, and Xeron, and then looking at the other side, Tyrannix, Samael, Spike Vixen, the Smithy, the Scout, and back to our Tusk Rider. Then we have scheme cards. I have a red border on the back. So getting Overrun, some Shattered Hope, Lifebound Corruption, Supercharge, Chaos, an Armory Theft, Dark Glory, Widow's Kiss, and Overrun. Then we have some sigils, and there's 4 of these, so just depending on the faction. We'll start with these. So I think there's 10 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And it's hard to read here, but we'll just go through the Broken Dawn, an Eclipse, Resolve, Cloak, and some relics. Then a Sharpened Mind, some armor, Shadow Ambush, and Speak with the Void. Get a little tune-up, Overclocked, Systems Upgrade, some Blessing, Robo Beast, and Perfect Alignment. And our last stack of cards, got some Brew, some Might, more Brew, some Gifts, and a Volley. So that is everything in the Kickstarter edition of Ascension Tactics. As always, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.